cast the first stone much. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. What she up to now is me documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar world of business, corporate America, over a quarter century in corporate America, 27 or so different industries and businesses since I was 13. So over the last 47 freaking years, I have been building businesses offline, doing businesses in different industries offline. And about 3 years ago, in 2017, I had the opportunity to do something online. I'd always been interested in the internet. I'd always been curious about this online world and internet marketing and what you could do online versus offline. So I discovered that I, as part of my divorce, was able to, or had to get rid of all my assets and do something new. So it gave me a huge opportunity to, at a pretty ripe old age, try something entirely different, entirely new. And I decided, actually, after much coaxing and much cajoling and much shoving into, that it was necessary that I figure out how to do live video. So in order to figure out how to do live video and be consistent with it, I told myself, well, I'll just document my journey every day for a while. And it was open-ended. I didn't really have I'm going to do this for X amount of days or X amount of time, and then I'll stop doing it. Just been doing it all along the way. So, cast the first stone much. I talked about in the idiom on Supersize Your Business today, the idiom, cast the first stone. Of course, it comes from the Bible, and it brought up a whole lot of stuff for me that I didn't even realize that I had thought about. It brings up competition, judgment, judging things that are different than us, being afraid of things that are different than us, diversity, creating separation, being a victim, creating victimhood and dependency, and why any of us would want to do that. Blaming other people, judging, accusing them, leading accusations against other people, being the first to stand up and say something about that, or jumping on the bandwagon when we don't really have inside knowledge of it. We don't really have accurate inside knowledge of any of so many things that we jump on the bandwagon for, that we get involved with. You know, and then from a business standpoint, competition, you know, do we really need to throw rocks at our competition and beat our competition up and make it about them? I think that can actually have a reverse effect. If you are bringing attention to your competition and your customers love you already and they really aren't, you can put doubt in their mind if you are behaving in a way that's judging and attacking your competition or throwing rocks at your competition. There's a big saying in marketing training, oh, throw rocks at your enemies and your competition. And I'm like, hey, your people that are in the same business as you, they're really not your competition. They're your best source of partnerships and joint ventures and things. But instead, so many people are looking at them like they're the enemy. The enemy of our enemy is the same enemy as the people that we serve, or should be the same enemy as the people that we serve. So if I am a coach for people with chronic pain, which I'm not, by the way, but if I was, the enemies to my people are the medical establishment that doesn't really help them to figure out the root cause of what's wrong with them and cure it. It just puts band-aids on it in the form of drugs, pharmaceuticals, in the form of medical treatments and medical procedures that are expensive and very painful, and they may or may not help the problem. They just mask the symptoms. That is the enemy of everyone who serves people in the chronic pain market, the chronic pain industry. We have to look at that in each of our different industries and say, hey, what's the real enemy of this? And it's usually never another company, a person. It's always a thing, a system or a thing that's broken. I'm not even going to get into the one I was just going to give an example of. Would not be a good idea. So as often as people want to blame another person for something, it's almost never that person's fault. I was in quality for decades, and the quality function is all about figuring out what really happened, doing an investigation and figuring out what the root cause of the outcome, the result, the problem was, the defect or the failure, the product failure. And it isn't guessing, it isn't blaming, it isn't making stuff up because it promotes your personal agenda. It's about what the heck really happened. And why do we want to find out what happened? We want to know what really, really factually happened so that we can make sure it doesn't happen again in the future. And that's my whole approach to everything is, all right, this is the result we're getting right now. What caused that result? What created that result? And it isn't hearsay. It isn't guessing. It isn't political at all. It's what the heck really happened. And we would go back, and what I like to do is go through the process backwards. There's always a process that we use, at least in manufacturing, to produce a product or service. And our process, or how we do it, that is our process. And the best way to figure out what goes wrong in the process, people think it's to go forward and track your process. And when you're designing and writing your process and figuring it out for how you do things, you usually go forward. Hey, this is what we do first, second, third, fourth, fifth. But whenever you're trying to figure out what's wrong with the process, whenever I help somebody write a process, we go through it forward and then we go through it backwards. Because when you go through it backwards, that's where you see where certain things might be missed. It's just a different perspective, a different point of view. And often when we put forth and we look at things differently, we see things differently, right? We only see what we expect to see, ever. All of us, human nature, me included. I only see what I want to see. And most of my world is pretty awesome. And so I look for and I see good things that are happening in the world around me. I don't look for things that are not, that don't make me feel the way I want to feel. Most people just respond to everything that they see because they're open to everything, whether it's true or not, whether they should believe it or not, whether they can believe it or not, whether it's from a reputable source or not. What we forget is that every entity has its own agenda. In dealing, I guess I'm thinking about chronic pain folks today, in dealing with people with chronic pain, because it's a pet project of mine. So often, and I was guilty of this as well, so often we put ourselves in the back seat of, I'm talking with respect to medical care and diagnosing problems. And so often as patients, we put ourselves in the back seat instead of being proactive and going after what we need, because each of us needs something different for our own, physical support and well-being. And instead of making our own version of that by picking and choosing pieces of different modalities that are best for us, we tend to just go with what the medical establishment says, right? Okay, if you're sick, you go to the doctor figures out what's wrong with you, they diagnose what's wrong with you, and then they prescribe something, either a medication or a regimen to follow in order for you to get better. Now, that works perfectly if you have something that is clearly diagnosable and they know exactly what the root cause is of what is creating the symptoms that you're exhibiting. So if I go to the doctor and I have migraines and they can figure out I have a brain tumor and that's causing my migraines, they can now go through a protocol and they can either pharmaceutically or surgically help me with my migraines because they're created and caused by this brain tumor in my head. But if I go to the doctor because I have migraines and they cannot find anything physically with their limited ability to test and diagnose things, then they just start treating my symptoms. They treat my migraine, but they don't figure out that the root cause of my migraines is, maybe, I'm trying to think of something that wouldn't show up. Maybe it's a neck injury that I had a decade ago when I had like a whiplash experience, but they can't see any damage of that, but that's creating my migraines. So they'll continue to treat the migraine with pharmaceutical and other means, and they never get to the root cause, so I end up for the rest of my life having migraines. Because I put my trust and belief and faith in them 100% that they're going to figure it out and cure me, and then I'll be okay. So often we do that with everything. We put our faith and trust in things that have authority, people and entities that have authority, we think over us, instead of figuring out, hey, this isn't working for me. And I'm telling this story because in my 20s, I was in a medical situation where the doctors, I had huge systemic problems and was bedridden for years, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And it wasn't until I said, whoa, hold the phone, I'm looking for all of you to fix me, and you're telling me you don't have the ability to, so who's going to fix me? Either I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life, which isn't going to be very long because I was in such excruciating pain, or I am going to have to be the one that figures out what the root cause is and what the pieces are, or if even I can't figure out what the root cause is, what I need to do from different areas, not just thinking that the doctors are going to fix me. So I don't know how I got off on that tangent. Get Up and Go challenge today, day 36 already of our 40-day free challenge, winding up, running to the end of that. Going through the spiritual aspect of my life as a demonstration for that particular challenge. Day, 181 of the fun challenge, doing one fun thing every day. So glad I picked that for 2020. Having one fun thing in my back pocket every day. Not that my granddaughter and I can't think of a fun thing to do every day, we always do, but I'm just saying it's fun to have a structured thing where I can focus on, no matter what's going on in the world, my life, my day, one thing, for even if it's just for a minute, hey, this is one fun thing. So I'm glad I picked that this year. Also, the Supersize Your Business Challenge, I already talked about that, casting the first stone. Hey, when we're perfect, we can judge other people. Otherwise, we need to just sit back, take a deep breath, and ask ourselves, why do I want to judge this? Why do I want to judge this person, place, thing, this event? Why do I want to? And what am I forming my opinion and judgment on? Before I comment on someone else's post, before I respond, why am I judging this? What is in it for me to comment on this? And am I adding to the positivity of the environment and the world, or am I adding to the negativity and the absolute false information that's out there? Because I don't know any more than you know. And sharing our opinion, yep, we each get an opinion, but it doesn't mean we have a right to be mean and abuse and bully and be rude to people that have a different opinion. Guess what? If you get to say your opinion, I get to say mine. We don't have to agree. I don't expect you to agree with my opinion. My opinion is just my opinion based on all of my beliefs and all of the things that have happened to me in my past. Your opinion is based on your beliefs and all the things you've decided to believe and all the experiences that you've had in your past. We've had totally different experiences. So you might feel very strongly about something that I know is ridiculous and I just don't care one bit about. So I'm not going to try to get you to have my opinion, because you've got different experiences with that particular thing. And that's true of anything that we're talking about, right? It can be true of anything. It can be true of your definition of the word soap. Maybe you think soap means something different than I think soap is. I think soap's for cleaning, right? Cleaning up my act, cleaning up my hands, washing things up, cleaning things up, and for overcoming challenges. Which, you know, if you got dirty hands, that might be a challenge. If you want to eat, if you want to do anything with your hands, you might need to wash them up sometime. All right, that's it. Have an absolutely fantastic, amazing day. I hope you're enjoying whatever is going on in your life right now. As I am mine. My kids are home for a week, so I'm super excited about that, and the puppy dogs too. So go out, make it an amazing day. If I can help you in any way, if you have a question, if you're struggling with something, you're like, I freaking just don't know what to do next, hit me up and ask in the comments below. I might personally not be able to help you, but I guarantee I can hook you up with a resource or someone that can help you to get to the next level, to do the next thing that you're trying to accomplish. All right, have a great day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.